For 100 long years, the Valkyrie Dominion ruled the stars with pride and confidence. Their fleets crossed galaxies without fear, their soldiers never tasted defeat, and their leaders believed they were chosen by destiny to win every battle they fought. To the Valkyrie, war was no longer dangerous. It had become a routine, a habit, almost a tradition. Their enemies surrendered as soon as the Valkyrie arrived. Their ships were larger, their weapons stronger, and their tactics unmatched. Victory was so common that even newly trained cadets expected to return home with medals. Commander Threx, a respected officer, lived in this world of constant triumph. He had seen enemy empires fall in days and pirate clans vanish in hours. Every morning, he woke up with the same thought: no one can stop us. And for years, he was right. But on a cold morning aboard the Dominion flagship something strange appeared on the long-range sensors. A lone ship had entered Valkyrie space, moving slowly, with no attempt to hide. At first, the crew ignored it. Many small ships crossed their borders every day. Most were harmless traders or explorers. But something about this new signal felt different. The scanners kept glitching each time they tried to read the ship. The information came in broken pieces, like the machine was afraid to show the truth. Threx leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the screen. "Identify it," he ordered, expecting a quick answer. The reply came with a quiet tremble in the operator's voice. "Sir, it is a human ship." The bridge fell silent. Humans were known across the galaxy as Deathworlders, a species born on a planet filled with poisonous air, deadly storms, hostile wildlife, and endless danger. They were strong, fast, stubborn, and incredibly hard to kill. Most species avoided them. The Valkyrie usually ignored them, thinking humans were too few to matter. Threx studied the small ship on the display. It looked old but heavily armored. It carried scars from past battles, like it had survived things no normal vessel could endure. Why would a lone human ship enter our space, he wondered. Humans were careful, strategic, and never acted without purpose. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. Before Threx could give an order, a second signal appeared, then a third, then 10 more. They were coming from the same direction, moving in perfect formation. The crew panicked as more ships appeared behind them, dozens turning into hundreds. The scanners froze for a moment, unable to process the data. Then the full picture loaded, and everyone felt their hearts stop. In front of them was not a small fleet, not even a large one. It was an armada, a massive wall of human warships, stretched across space like a metal horizon. Thousands of vessels, tightly packed and perfectly aligned. Their engines glowed red, their armor shining with a harsh, dangerous beauty. Threx stepped back, breathless. He had seen many great fleets, but nothing like this. This was not a force of exploration. It was not a force of diplomacy. This was a force built for one thing only: retribution. The Valkyrie had spent a century believing they were invincible. They believed no enemy could challenge them, no species could rise against them. But now, staring at the Deathworlder, Armada Threx finally understood the truth. Their victories had blinded them, their arrogance had weakened them, and their luck had just ended. The bridge alarms screamed as the human armada slowly advanced. Their weapons powered up, their formations tightened. Every ship moved with silent, deadly purpose, like a predator preparing to strike. For the first time in his life, Commander Threx felt something he had forgotten long ago. Fear. The human armada did not attack at once. Instead, it stopped just outside Valkyrie territory, forming a perfect wall of steel and fire. The ships did not move, did not send messages, did not show any sign of fear or hesitation. They simply waited, silent and cold, like a storm gathering strength. Commander Threx watched the display with growing confusion. Every instinct told him to strike first, but something about the humans made his hands freeze. They were not acting like any enemy the Valkyrie had faced. There was no demand, no warning, no introduction. Only an army of Deathworlders, staring into Valkyrie space with emotionless precision. The High Council contacted Threx at once. Their faces filled the screen, showing fear they tried and failed to hide. "Send them a message." The Supreme Elder ordered. "We must know their purpose." Threx obeyed. A signal was sent, polite but firm, requesting identification and intention. Minutes passed, then hours, but the human ships did not reply. The Armada remained silent, as if the entire fleet was holding its breath. Finally, the Council grew impatient. "They insult us by ignoring us," one elder shouted. "Show them our power," another demanded. They ordered Threx to launch a warning shot, something small, something that would not start a war, but would remind humans who they were dealing with. Threx hesitated, but he followed the command. A single Valkyrie cruiser fired a low-power beam toward an empty area near the human line. The shot flashed brightly, a harmless display of force, and then everything changed. The human armada moved, not with chaos, but with terrifying discipline. Each ship adjusted its formation by the exact same degree, like they were all controlled by one mind. Their engines flared, their weapons activated, and their targeting systems locked onto the Valkyrie fleet in perfect unison. Threx felt the air turn cold. Prepare defenses, he ordered, but he knew it would not matter. Before the Valkyrie could react, a smaller group of human ships detached from the main armada, 30 vessels moving forward like a pack of hunting beasts. They accelerated with impossible speed, leaving trails of burning light behind them. The Valkyrie responded by launching a test fleet of 500 warships. The test fleet was one of their strongest groups, equipped with heavy shields and advanced armor. The Council believed it would force the humans to retreat, or at least show weakness. It did neither. The human ships attacked without hesitation. Their weapons were not like anything the Valkyrie had studied. Energy blades tore through shields as if they were made of paper. Rail cannons fired projectiles faster than any tracking system could follow. Missiles twisted and changed direction mid-flight, adapting to the enemy's movement. The battle lasted only 12 seconds. When it ended, the Valkyrie test fleet was gone. Not damaged, not retreating, simply erased, turned into glowing dust, drifting through space. Threx stared at the empty battlefield. His crew sat frozen, unable to speak or breathe. No species had ever destroyed a Valkyrie fleet that fast. No species had ever fought with such deadly control. Threx finally understood. The humans were not displaying power. They were sending a message carved into the vacuum of space with pure destruction. Do not test us. The Council panicked, screaming orders that contradicted one another. Some demanded full war, others begged for surrender. Many simply stared at the screen, pale and shaking. The human armada returned to its silent formation. Slowly, patiently, it continued moving forward. Their ships did not celebrate, did not rush. They advanced like a force of nature, unstoppable and emotionless. Threx felt a chill run down his spine as he turned to his crew. This is not a normal war, he whispered. They are here for a reason, but no one knew what that reason was yet. And the silence of the human armada made that unknown even more terrifying. The destruction of the Valkyrie test fleet spread across the Dominion like a wildfire. Worlds that once celebrated victory now whispered in fear. Soldiers who once believed they were unbeatable now questioned everything they knew. The loss was not only shocking, it was impossible, and that made it even more terrifying. Commander Threx stood on the bridge of the staring at the latest reports. Every screen showed panic. Entire colonies were demanding answers. Frontier worlds requested emergency evacuation. Even veteran officers were sending private messages to their families, telling them to prepare for the worst. The High Council tried to control the situation, but their voices cracked every time they spoke. They held emergency meetings day and night, but no decision brought stability. The Council had always acted with pride, but now their pride was collapsing under the weight of fear. The human armada continued its slow advance, not rushing, not threatening, simply moving forward with unbroken discipline. It was this calm, this silence, that frightened everyone the most. The humans had done the impossible, destroyed 500 Valkyrie warships in 12 seconds, yet they did not speak a single word. Why are they not communicating? An officer asked Threx, her voice shaking. Even enemies send warnings. Threx had no answer. The silence felt like judgment, like the humans believed talking was unnecessary because the Dominion already knew why they had come. As the Armada crossed the outer border, more Valkyrie worlds began to break away. Some declared neutrality, hoping the humans would spare them. Others tried to make secret deals with nearby empires, promising resources in exchange for protection. But no empire wanted to get between the Valkyrie and the Deathworlders. Fear of humans spread faster than the Armada itself. Stories of Earth, the Deathworld, were told again. Children who once laughed at the old tales now listened in silence, imagining oceans filled with killing storms and forests filled with monsters that hunted anything that moved. If humans could survive such a world, what chance did the Valkyrie have against their anger? Inside the Dominion fleets, Discipline started to crumble. Pilots argued with their commanders. Officers questioned orders. Some ships even deserted, fleeing toward the outer rim to hide in uncharted space. Threx walked through the ship's corridors and saw the fear on every face. Even the elite guard units were nervous, gripping their weapons a little too tightly. This was new for them. They had never seen an enemy who ignored all attempts at communication, who destroyed an entire fleet in seconds, who advanced with perfect unity. The High Council sent Threx a direct order. Prepare all capital fleets for defense, they said. We will make our stand at the central systems. Their voices shook, pretending strength they no longer had. Threx obeyed, but he knew the truth. The Dominion was already falling apart from the inside. Armies were losing faith. Civilians were fleeing. Leaders were arguing instead of planning. As the Varkan moved toward the central systems, Threx studied the human formation again. Every ship was positioned with mathematical precision. Every movement was identical. There were no mistakes, no hesitation, no wasted motion. Why are they doing this? Threx whispered. What do they want? No answer came. The silence of the humans was louder than any weapon. Then a new report arrived, shaking the entire Dominion. A frontier listening post had intercepted something. Not a transmission, not a warning, but a piece of damaged data floating in space. It was part of a human message, a broken fragment from an older signal. The message contained one chilling sentence. They have not forgotten what was done. Threx stared at the words, a cold weight settling in his chest. The reason behind the human arrival was no longer a mystery. Something had happened in the past, something terrible, something the Valkyrie had hidden or forgotten, and now, the humans were returning for it. The broken human message spread across the Dominion like a cold wind. They have not forgotten what was done. Those words echoed in every command center, every military base, every council hall. For the first time, the Valkyrie Dominion began to understand the truth. The humans were not silent because they were arrogant. They were silent because their purpose was already decided. Commander Threx sat in his quarters, staring at the message fragment. He replayed the words again and again, trying to remember any past conflict with humans. But the Dominion had fought so many wars that smaller incidents had been buried, forgotten, or deliberately erased from records. Threx requested access to classified archives. The Council tried to block him at first, but after the human Armada destroyed another border base, they finally agreed. The files were old, dusty, filled with reports from forgotten campaigns. Threx spent hours reading through them, searching for a clue, and then he found it, a short record, only a few lines long, labeled Colony Incident 73B. The report described a small human settlement on a distant moon. Mainly farmers, engineers, and scientists. They had no army, no weapons, no threat. They lived quietly, studying the strange environment around their new home. But a Valkyrie raiding group had attacked the colony. It was a simple raid, meant to test new weapons and gather resources. The Valkyrie commander in charge considered it unimportant. The report said the settlement was destroyed completely, and no survivors were recorded. The incident was so small that the Dominion decided not to include it in official war history. To the Valkyrie, it was nothing. To the humans, it was everything. Threx leaned back, feeling the weight of the discovery. The human Armada was not here for conquest, not here for expansion. They were here because of that moon, because of those families, because of the innocent lives the Valkyrie had erased. The silence of the humans now made sense. This was not a negotiation, not a warning. This was justice in the eyes of a Deathworlder species. Threx delivered the information to the High Council. The elders stared at the data, their faces pale. Some whispered in disbelief, others trembled with guilt or fear. The Supreme Elder spoke first. We never knew, but Threx knew that was a lie. Someone in the Dominion had known. Someone had ordered the records to be buried. Someone had decided that human lives were not worth remembering. The Council ordered him to keep the truth quiet. They believed revealing it would cause chaos. But Threx refused, his voice steady but cold. The humans already know, he said. We are only discovering what they remembered. Meanwhile, the human Armada continued its approach, with the same terrifying silence as before. They passed destroyed outposts, abandoned stations, and empty colonies without slowing. They were heading straight for the heart of the Dominion. Every time they passed a world, Valkyrie citizens sent desperate messages, begging the humans for mercy. The humans never replied. Their ships remained cold, dominant and silent. Threx watched them on the tactical screen. He noticed something strange. For every human ship destroyed by the Valkyrie in past wars, the humans had added a light marking on the hull. But for Colony 73B, they had painted an entire symbol across their flagships, a single black circle with a red mark through it, a sign of mourning and promise. The meaning was clear. This armada was built for those who were lost. As the Dominion tried to form one last defense line, the tension grew heavier. No one slept, no one joked, no one spoke loudly. The entire empire seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next move of the Deathworlders. Threx stood on the command deck, staring at the glowing display of the human fleet. He felt the truth burn in his mind. The humans were not here to talk, not here to threaten. They were here to finish what the Dominion had started, and they would not stop until justice was done. The Valkyrie Dominion gathered what remained of its strength. Every surviving fleet, every trained soldier, every functioning warship was ordered to the capital system. The space around the Valkyrie homeworld filled with thousands of ships, forming a massive defensive wall. It was the largest gathering of Valkyrie power in a century, but no one felt safe. Fear hung in the air like a thick fog. Officers whispered to each other, soldiers tightened their armor straps, and commanders prayed to ancient stars for protection. Even the strongest warlords, who once boasted about endless victories, now stared at the holographic map with trembling hands. Commander Threx stood on the bridge of the watching the defensive lines. The ships were arranged in layers, with the strongest vessels at the front and the support ships behind. It looked impressive, but Threx knew the truth. The Valkyrie did not have unity anymore. They had fear, and fear was the greatest weakness of all. Then, the sensors began to scream. The human armada had arrived. They emerged from hyperspace like a tidal wave of metal and fire. Thousands of warships, larger and stronger than anything the Valkyrie had ever faced. Their armor glowed with deep red lines. Their engines burned with white light. Every formation was perfect, every movement synchronized. They looked less like a fleet and more like a single living creature. The moment they appeared, silence fell across the Valkyrie command channels. Even the council stopped speaking. All eyes turned to the screens as the Deathworlders began to advance. Slow and unstoppable, the Valkyrie fired first. A storm of missiles, beams, and plasma bolts filled space, bright enough to blind the sensors. The attack was powerful enough to destroy smaller moons. But when the smoke cleared, the Valkyrie officers gasped. The human armada kept moving. Their shields absorbed everything. Their armor shimmered but did not break. The humans did not slow down. They did not change formation. They did not reply. They simply advanced. Then the Deathworlders struck back. The front line of human dreadnoughts opened fire. Rail cannons launched projectiles faster than light dust. Energy blades sliced through the nearest Valkyrie cruisers, turning them into silent explosions. Drones swarmed like angry stars, weaving between ships, disabling engines and detonating reactors. The battlefield became chaos. Valkyrie vessels broke formation, some retreating, some crashing into each other. Many tried to fight bravely, but the humans moved too fast. Every Valkyrie attack was predicted, analyzed, and countered within seconds. The Deathworlders fought with both fury and precision, the battle instincts of a species shaped by the deadliest world in the galaxy. Threx tried to keep his fleet together, shouting orders through the noise, but he knew it was hopeless. The humans had come for justice, and nothing could stop them. The Valkyrie defenses fell layer by layer, each line collapsing faster than the last. After 1 hour, the Dominion's greatest fleet was broken. Fires burned across the capital's orbit, wreckage drifted like metal snow, and shattered ships flickered with dying lights. Then something unexpected happened. The human armada stopped firing, the guns powered down, the drones returned to their carriers, the engines lowered their burn, the battlefield went silent. A single human ship moved forward, carrying a message. Threx expected a threat, a demand, or a promise of destruction. But when the transmission activated, the message was short and calm. Strength is not cruelty. Power is not domination. Let this be your lesson. Then the human fleet deployed supply pods, medical equipment, and emergency shelters for the surviving Valkyrie civilians. They did not attack the capital. They did not erase the Dominion completely. They punished the war leaders but spared the innocent. The Deathworlders had delivered justice, not extinction. As the human armada turned away and vanished into hyperspace, Threx watched in silence. His people had been defeated, but perhaps not doomed. The humans had shown a different kind of strength, one the Valkyrie had the end.